Hello, and welcome to an episode of Drinking the Kool-Aid. This is a comedy podcast dedicated to the mysterious. My name is Cassidy.
My name's Amanda.
And we just figured out some technical difficulties.
Yes, we did, hopefully.
Fun, sexy time for us.
I finished my entire first beer.
Yeah, I don't know how you did that. I still have half of mine left.
Because I was sitting here like a ball of stress and anxiety. And
Sorry, I just drank that beer so weird, and I just remembered that we're on camera sometimes.
What did you drink it?
I drank it out like the corner of my mouth. Like a little freak.
Listen, as long as it goes in the hole and down the pipes.
Just more reason to go check out our YouTube, everybody.
You want to see how weird we do stuff?
You want to see my mannerisms, which are both off-putting and upsetting? Check it out.
That's right. Great plug.
Yeah, you know. Would you like to be unsettled while you listen to this podcast, even more so than before? Check us out available now on YouTube Plus. Is YouTube Plus a thing?
I don't think
even know.
so. I think you're making things up now.
I am. Now I'm just lying, which is what I do best.
You do that pretty well.
Yeah.
I gotta say.
It's okay. During our technical difficulties, it just forced me to buy a Halloween costume for my dog. So
I think that was like the most important thing that you could have done today.
So the problem is here. Okay, listen.
What's the problem?
I got a gift card for Chewy.
From who?
From a friend of mine.
Wow. I wish my friends would just give me gift cards.
And I had never used Chewy before. So I did an order for like my cat's food and some other stuff that we needed for the pets, because the pets are expensive, you guys.
Pets are very expensive.
If I hear you bitching like, oh my gosh, adoption fees for pet, they put the adoption fee because if you can't afford $100, you can't afford a pet.
I mean, yeah, that's real.
Like, that sucks, but it's true. Like, you should not, if you can't afford the $100 adoption fee, you should definitely not get a pet. Like, they're so expensive, especially to do it right. And so, but yeah, so I, got some stuff, used the gift card, and then they immediately sent me a $20, they were running some promo. They sent me a $20 gift card for my next purchase.
What the fuck?
Because it was my first time ever purchasing, and they were doing some promo. And I totally forgot about that. So I got an email this morning saying like, hey, you have to use your $20 gift card.
Some people have all the luck.
And I was like, oh shit, I forgot. And then I got on and immediately the first thing I see is an $18 cow costume for my little cow. And I needed to get her some vitamins and supplements for her joints. She's getting old. I think she's having some hip problems recently.
Oh, Sid.
So I got her some of those, and then I got her, of course, for my free gift, I had to get her a little cow costume for Christmas.
I mean...
Or for Halloween.
For Christmas.
I'm just going to make her wear it.
Nightmare
all the
Before
time.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say all season long, baby.
No, that's going to be very cute. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, she's going to be looking cute.
Baloo is going to be a dinosaur.
Adorable. I feel like he's been that before.
No, never.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Oh, I thought he had.
No, so every year we go to the Halloween dog parade. Mm-hmm. And usually, like every other year, it falls on our anniversary, our wedding anniversary, which it is on our wedding anniversary this year. So we're going to be the Jurassic Park people.
Fun. Which one are you going to be? Laura Dern? Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah.
And your husband's going to be?
Guy with the hat.
Okay.
Not
Sam Neill.
Yeah, not...
he has dark hair. You should make him be Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, but isn't the other people a couple? I feel like that works better.
They're not a couple.
Because he actually said, should I be Jeff Goldblum? And I was like, I feel like you're supposed to be the other guy.
They're not a couple, though.
Oh. I thought they were.
No, they're not.
Okay, then I guess he could be either one.
Yeah.
Whichever one he wants.
No one's fucking.
But either way, Baloo is a dinosaur, and that's all I care about.
That's fair. That's fair. Stephen, our friend Stephen Ray Morris, formerly of My Favorite Murder and currently of See Jurassic Right, just sent me a picture that he got an inflatable dinosaur costume.
Oh, I can't wait to see that.
I was like, oh, you're going to be doing October hard. Yeah. Oh, speaking of, in October, I'm going to be on See Jurassic Right, and we're going to be deep diving into the psychology behind the Alien franchise movies. So feel free to check that out. I'll be posting it on Instagram and all that good stuff.
Did you compare aliens to dinosaurs?
No.
It's a Jurassic Park podcast.
No, the podcast is called See Jurassic Right because he started it about Jurassic Park, but it's mostly just like sci-fi and science.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
So because I went on there and just talked about oceanography once, so because I was in the oceanography club, kids.
That's your thing, you know? You like that kind of sci-fi stuff.
Oh, I friggin' love it. Yeah, if you want to hear me. So basically, if you want to hear this episode, we talk about how the Alien franchise is so fun because it really dives into our desire to know our creator. So we talk about creationism, we talk about religion, we talk about how women are just smarter than men in general.
True.
Which, come on, fellas. Stop fighting it. Lean in.
I mean, obviously, Steven didn't fight it.
No, not at all.
He knows better.
Well, the creators of the original Alien movie, literally the whole point is that men are jealous of women, and that is why they want to be able to create life so badly. When women can create life and men need us to create life. So there's like a jealousy complex there. And that's what maybe perhaps why men tend to treat women so shitty. This is kind of on brand for my story today too.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Little flash forward. Sorry about that, guys.
Little peek into the future here.
But we can talk about other animals that are way happier.
Listen.
They're not aliens,
do you have another animal for me? Because every single week you have been bringing the hits. You're just dropping them. Hit after hit after hit.
Oh, do I?
Oh, gosh.
So there was a zoo in China that was saying it discovered this new type of panda. And everyone was like so stoked on it, right? It turns out they just painted some chow chows into panda coloring.
What?
And then said that they were pandas. And then they got caught because the dogs got too close to the... like, you know, where the people are, and they're like panting and like doing dog.
People
barking.
Are like, that's a dog.
That's a fucking dog.
Oh my gosh. I gotta see this.
Yeah, let me show you. They're so freaking funny. Yeah, a zoo in China has admitted its star attraction to so-called pandas are just painted dogs.
They had to admit it.
Okay,
you're right. We painted the dogs. We painted the dogs.
Like, it's so obvious, too.
Wait, why are they so cute?
Oh, they're so cute, but they're just dogs. They're not pandas.
They're so cute.
Like, I know people in the United States who get their fluffy dogs dyed like this, like at the groomer.
Yeah. No, they're really
Isn't
cute.
that funny?
That's insane.
Yeah. The videos are so funny because they're so clearly dogs. They're like barking and stuff.
Can you say in Trump's voice, we painted the dogs?
They're painting the dogs.
I don't know why. I just like pictured it in his voice. And you're my favorite impressionist.
In China. They're painting the dogs in China.
Sometimes I'm just like sitting on my couch and I think about your impression of him and I laugh.
It's one of my best.
It's really good. Yeah, it makes me laugh every time.
It's too bad. But he also says, like, I do not like Trump. Like, I'm sure that's not going to be a shock to anybody.
Wait, what? You don't?
But the man says some of the funniest, like he equally says like some of the most vile shit I've ever heard in my life. And then he also, like 2 seconds later, will say the funniest thing I've ever heard.
No, he's wild.
I have a concept of a plan. I'm not president right now. What are you talking? That's hilarious. That's a hilarious thing to say to somebody who just asked you about a policy opinion when you're running for president of the United States. Crazy.
No, hilarious. Sorry, I don't know why. Like it just felt right.
Yeah,
in that moment,
it just felt right.
Felt like something he would say.
It did. They're painting the dogs.
They're painting the dogs.
I have to do the hand. I don't know why. I literally can't do his voice without putting 2 okay signatures on my hands.
Yeah, no, it's essential.
They're painting the dogs. You might say, no way, those are pandas. But no, they're painted dogs. I've seen it for myself. I was just as upset. I've been lied to. We've been tricked. You know?
That is literally like, it just makes me laugh so hard every time.
Listen, I do it all for you, baby. I do it all for you.
Thank you so much.
Ooh. Yeah, it's been a crazy week online. You know what I mean?
Well, you are my chronically online friend.
Well, speaking of.
Oh.
Did you hear about how we're getting a second moon for a little while?
2 moons?
We're going to have a mini moon.
Like a baby?
Yeah, it's like an asteroid the size of like a bus. And it's going to be sucked into it's going to do one rotation of Earth before it gets shot back out into space.
So it's just going to be next to the other moon?
I don't think it's going to be next to the other moon. No. But it's little, so you're going to need like a telescope or whatever the fuck they're called to look at it. A periscope, telescope.
A telescope.
And but yeah, it's going to be like sucked into our orbit, and it's going to do one full rotation of the planet. So it's going to be for like, I think like 2 months.
Oh, that's pretty cute.
Yeah, I think it arrives at end of September 28th, and then it's gone November something.
Love it.
Isn't that cool though?
As long as it doesn't crash land on Earth, then...
No, we're basically just like slingshotting it back out into the universe.
Cute.
It is really cute. Mini moon.
But I also just hate space.
Listen, you got to be excited about the mini moon diva.
No, I'm excited about that because like she's not going to do anything to me.
I just want to know what she's going to do to astrology.
Oh.
Like we're going to have 2 moons?
That's not
briefly.
That can't be good.
It can't. It really can't be.
We already blame the moon for all of our problems. What are we supposed to do with a mini moon?
Oh man, I mean, I will be blaming it for all of my problems personally.
That's double the problems.
That's double the problems, double the fun.
Like, oh, we're screwed. We're screwed.
Double the problems, double the terror. Dance forever, ever, ever.
I thought you were doing like a Double Mint commercial.
That is from a Double Mint commercial.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it was a Chris Brown song that he did for Double Mint gum, I think.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Know your lore.
You gotta
learn your lore.
I just remember the Double Mint twins.
Sure, yeah.
Those girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. We could be those girls.
Sure. We're both blonde now.
We are.
I need to do my roots so bad. Like, I'm so sorry to anybody who is actually watching on YouTube. My skin, dull. Hair, greasy. Roots, not done.
Guys.
PMSing.
She is lying to you. She looks cute as fuck right now.
I literally was like, I should wash my hair this morning after I finished getting ready, but I was like, I cannot do it.
No, you look adorable. I literally complimented you the second I saw you.
I know, but I don't believe you.
I wouldn't have said it if I didn't mean it.
I've seen what makes you cheer. Your boos mean nothing to me. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh, never mind. It's a meme.
But I also would have just stayed silent if I didn't actually think that.
Were you silent? Or were you silenced?
Right, exactly.
Did the pandas get you?
Were the pandas painted? No, the dogs were.
Amanda's name in my phone is Panda.
Panda Lovegood.
Panda Lovegood.
To be specific.
That's how you know that I've known someone for a really long time, because, you know, when you were like younger, it was like cool to give people like nicknames in your phones. And then now that you're an adult, you just like put their government name. Right. So I'm like, okay, that's how you know what era I met them in. Like if they have some silly, weird little goofy name in my phone, I'm like, okay, I met them. They've been a friend for a while.
I mean, it's been 13, 14 years now.
Yeah. But like if it's their full government name, I either fucking hate their guts or I met them in the last 4 years.
Ooh, good to know, everybody. Look in Cassidy's phone at your contact name.
Because I have changed like people that I've known for a long time and they had a silly goofy little name and then I decided I don't like them.
Ooh,
I have changed it to their government name. Because I'm like, I don't want to see this whimsical attitude every time they message me.
That's so fair.
Yeah.
So I have 2 contact names for you for some reason. I don't know if it's because I changed my phone at one point and it like kept both of them. So every once in a while, you're Cassidy Liston and then sometimes you're PETA Malark.
Oh yeah. Why did you put me as PETA?
I have no idea.
Probably because I was always saving your ass in college.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Realistically,
you're not wrong.
Accurate.
But
biblically accurate.
I have no idea why you're like, I know Hunger Games came out when we met because I was reading the books.
Yeah.
But I don't, PETA's not even your guy. So I don't even know.
No, PETA's your guy though.
PETA's my guy. So maybe you're my guy.
That's what I'm saying is I kept saving your ass in college.
So I was like, I'm in love with Cassidy. I'm going to name her PETA.
Yeah.
That has to be it.
Oh, the shippers are going to love this. Guys, we have shippers. We have people who ship us.
I mean, we should be shipped.
That's cute.
That's really
good for
us. We should be.
Somebody said that I'd never even heard of this show, but somebody sent me a video and was like, you guys remind me of the girl version of them. And it was this show, Good Mythical Morning.
Never seen it.
Yeah, I'd never heard of it either. Apparently it was like a YouTube show. They're older than us. I think they're in their 40s. I think. I don't know for sure. But somebody sent me and was like, oh, you guys remind me so much of them.
Let me guess. They're 2 guys
They've been friends forever.
Been friends forever.
They were like childhood friends even.
Secretly in love with each other, have flirty banter.
They have flirty banter. They're from like a small town or like the South or something, and they grew up super Christian, so they both got married really young, and they're still married to their like high school sweethearts.
This
and
is
they
getting
like
Brokeback Mountain.
very much love their wives from what I gathered. I didn't search a lot, but they seem like very good guys and like they love their wives. But people ship them.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that's why someone sent it to me, because they're like, oh, not saying like you guys don't love your husbands, but you know,
well,
if anything ever happened,
there's enough love to go around.
There's enough love
for
to go
everybody.
around. We're not soft swinging or anything.
We're not.
Oh, which speaking of, if you want to see Amanda recap the Mormon soft swinging scandal to me on Patreon, that is available now, which mind blowing.
I also realized, like, I
rewatched it and was like, what a psycho story.
It is a psycho story.
Yeah.
It is. So for anyone who watched Secret Lives of Mormon Wives and was wanting to know more about the swinging scandal and the Taylor arrest drama, that's kind of what I talk about in there.
That girl is
crazy.
Needs to not be on television, I would say.
It is wild because even after we finished that little video and I was rewatching it while I was editing it, I was like, it is really crazy actually that they just like forgave her for everything she did and let her be back on the show, because
like domestic abuse and stuff, dude.
Not only that, but someone on our Patreon comments even wrote like, oh, she said that her kids were upstairs while they were having these parties.
Yeah.
Her kids were just upstairs while they were downstairs getting blacked out drunk and hooking up with each other.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. Yeah. No, she seems like a horrible person in my opinion, personally.
That's my opinion.
It's my opinion. That's my opinion. Yeah, crazy town. Speaking of Patreon, we also have we're gonna be recapping McMillions, which is so ridiculous. If you want to hear me just go insane, you can go listen to that.
Really, Patreon is all about us going insane.
If you think that I'm insane here, you should check out our Patreon.
Yeah, it's like 20 times worse.
If you think that I'm annoying here, you should not check out our Patreon. We also have a new episode of Shot of Kool-Aid that'll be coming out in the next week or two. We're doing 2 this month because we missed last month because I was ill consistently for like the entire month. So make sure you go check that out. You can find our Patreon at dtkpod.com/support. You can also just click the link in the description of this episode.
That's right.
And you're going to like it. Or you're going to hate it.
Yeah, we promise you're going to either like it or hate it. I promise it's going to be one or the other. We promise
you're going to feel things. But how about we welcome some people who did join our Patreon this week?
Absolutely, positively.
So welcome to Andrew K.
Andrew, hi.
Welcome to Rabia or Rabia S.
Hello, Rabia. That's how I'm going to say it.
Welcome to Amanda. Our Amanda Army grows.
I'm watching you.
Welcome to Erin M.
Hello, Erin.
And welcome to Macy.
Hello, Macy.
So thank you guys so much for joining our Patreon. You're totally the only reason we get to keep doing this podcast. We are basically completely self-funded, and we just totally dig you. Thank you so much.
What she said.
Yeah. Also, thank you to everyone who corrected all of my pronunciations from the last 2 weeks. I was trying my hardest, okay?
We're always trying our hardest.
It's been rough between the stories I've been trying to tell, and it's only going to get worse today. So,
great.
Yeah.
Well, we are a week away from October. I'm very excited.
I'm very excited.
I'm wearing a t-shirt that says Hoppy Halloween.
You are?
Yeah.
Oh, because it's cheersing. They're drinking beer.
Hoppy Halloween.
I'm wearing a Misfits t-shirt.
That's kind of on theme.
Yeah.
That seems like...
I was wearing this shark tooth necklace also, but for some reason the chain was making my neck black.
This seems like a hex.
Which it's never done before, because this is like a nice chain too. My mom got me this.
Yeah, it seems like something of the devil.
Probably. Let's be honest. I did clear out about 500 dead flies out of one of my light fixtures today. So
today again?
Oh yeah, girl.
Oh my gosh. This is getting serious.
If my upstairs neighbors weren't so loud, I would think they died.
Oh, I was going to say maybe they did and you're hearing their ghosts.
Maybe. I don't think so because I still see them walking their dog all the time.
Yeah, maybe you can see ghosts.
That's so true. You don't even know. Maybe you're just seeing ghosts all the time and you don't even think about it because they just look like regular people.
I mean, you really don't know. How are you going to know?
How would they know?
It's not like are you walking with someone else and you're going, look at that guy? Probably not. You probably don't even think about it.
Well, but if they're just visible to everyone too, nobody would even think about it.
Oh, if everyone can see ghosts?
Yeah, sure.
Maybe.
Why not?
But I don't think so.
Okay. She's gatekeeping.
Girl bossing.
Girl bossing.
And gaslighting.
I feel gaslit right now.
Also, I'm really, really excited because for the first week of October, we are dressing up. Obviously, we're dressing up all of October, but I am pulling out my hot glue gun for this one. So,
ooh, fun.
So get excited, guys.
Very good. Very nice. Very
when
nice.
I pull out the hot glue gun, you know it's serious.
I'm afraid.
You probably should be a little.
I was literally complaining that you had this idea to our other friends because I was like, they were like, well, she said you don't have to do it. And I'm like, you don't understand.
You don't have to.
Okay, yeah, but like, what am I supposed to fucking just sit here in a t-shirt while you're wearing like a headdress or like whatever the fuck you're gonna be up to over there?
I'm gonna look like a psychopath.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like, and I can't even just like phone it in and do something easy because I'll look like a fucking idiot.
Or you can.
She did not give me an option in this, by the way. The option was either she does it alone or we do it together. I had no decision to be made.
Well, yeah, there's no option for me to not do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like I literally had no choice. I had to do it.
Well, sorry.
Do you see this? I'm in a fucking I'm being gaslit right now. Or at least girl bossed in the least.
Yeah, this probably is a girl boss situation.
Yeah.
I'm going to girl boss you so hard that you're going to...
It's okay. I already have 2. I have 2. I just need 3 more. God, Jesus Christ. So many.
You can even just like... You can do a simple one.
No, because I'll look like a fucking idiot next to you if you're all fucking... I even said, I was like, oh, you're just going to do like something easy? I don't do easy, Cassidy. She said that to me like 10 minutes ago. I don't do easy, Cassidy. Because I was like, oh, she for some reason bought a Trader Joe's employee t-shirt at the thrift store.
They had them at Goodwill and I thought they were cool.
And I said, oh, so you could be a Trader Joe's employee for one of your costumes. And she said, too easy. Why would I do that? And I'm like, okay, well then fuck me, I guess.
No, I have to look like a complete psychopath.
Oh my God.
That's the whole point.
Just don't wear your fucking coochie out again and we'll be
okay. My coochie is not going to be out. Snooki is not coming out this time. Okay. Don't worry. She's contained.
She's contained. She's snookied up.
I snookied too close to the sun.
You did. When you snooky too close to the sun. That's so real.
And some people think they saw a little too much of me. But you know what I say?
Que sera, sera.
Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be.
Oh my God, my hair is making shapes again. It's upsetting.
What's the shape today?
Almost like a small... Oh, it's a little bit giving blue whale.
Oh, a little.
Do you see? We got the mouth, we got the body, we got the tail.
Oh my gosh, it does look like a whale.
We're giving blue whale today.
We're giving blue whale.
Wow, that is so upsetting.
I washed my hair last night and then I thought that I was going to like make it look real cute and like do something to it this morning and I didn't. So
I just wish I had straight hair. I'm so jealous of your hair.
See, I'm so jealous of your hair.
No, you're not. Because
trust me.
Your hair would literally never be done if you had my hair.
But it's curly.
Yeah, but do you know what curly means? My hair's not curly like in the fun way. My hair is curly in the way that it's like, hey, 1 out of every 25 times you get out of the shower, it's going to look decent.
I think your hair always looks good.
That's really sweet. You're so wrong. And also, your hair would literally never be done. She will text me, I'm just going to blow dry my hair really quick and then head over. Okay.
Because my hair is straight like a fucking...
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I can't do that. If I wash my hair, the reason I wash my hair once a week tops is because it is like an 8-hour process. You would never do your hair. Your hair would never be done.
So what would it look like?
You probably just would have it up all the time. You have straight hair and your hair's up like most of the time.
Yeah, that's how I do my hair.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, I think if you had my hair texture, you would be sorely disappointed.
I'm not gonna fight with you about how cute you look.
I'll fucking fight you anytime. I don't care.
I'm scared. Truthfully, that's why I don't want to get into it.
You should be. You fucking should be.
I know I can't take you. I'm not stupid.
I am the friend that people message when they need to be good at fighting. Like, what do I say back to this text? I'm that friend. You
are really good at that.
Because I'm really good at that. Yeah.
And you're good at, like, if people give you like a prompt, right? You're like, okay, I want to say this. I want to like get them, but I don't want to be like too mean. I just want to be really smart.
Yeah.
You could do that. But then also if you're like, no, I want to fucking tell them off, you could do that. I
can say something so mean that doesn't even like it's not mean in the way where like if anybody screenshotted it and shared it, they'd be like, wow, that's a huge cunt. Like she said something like offensive or whatever. But I can say something to somebody, probably anybody, even people I don't know, that will ruin at least the next 6 months of their life. Like they will be thinking about it.
Yeah, because you can say stuff where people will be like, wait a second, and then have to like their whole brain is
it's like
mush.
hitting them at like the core of who they are as a person.
Right.
It's not just like, ugh, you're fucking ugly.
Right.
Or like, oh, you sound stupid. Like, no. I would be like, one time I said, oh my God, this is so mean. But one time I said to someone, I'm so sorry that your parents didn't love you enough to make sure you got a good education. Like that is so mean.
Yeah. Was it true?
Probably. I don't know. I just met this person.
Oh. She was just throwing shit at the wind and hoping it stuck.
But she called me the R slur, so.
Oh.
I was like, okay.
Well, there you go.
I was like, gloves off.
I think that's fine then.
We just met and you just call me the R slur. Like, I'm for sure going to say the meanest thing you've ever heard in your life.
Wow, I want to go kick this girl's ass.
That's what I'm saying. But guess what? I guarantee you she thought about that for like a while after that.
Good, as she should.
And how do you even tell people that someone said that to you? Like if someone said that to me, like, I'm sorry your parents didn't love you enough to make sure you got a good education. Like, how do you even, like, I would never tell anybody that was said to me.
I'd be like, you're probably right. No, I'm just kidding.
Right? But like, how do you even say that to someone?
I don't know.
Yeah. So you can't even get like validation elsewhere.
That's true. You just have to suffer in silence.
And that's what arguing is all about.
I love to suffer in silence.
You do. It's so annoying. So annoying. As a chatter myself.
I know.
I love to chat about every emotion I have ever.
I gotta change that about me.
You're getting better. You've gotten way better.
Thank you. Yeah. I've been trying.
You used to be like 6 months after something would happen, I would hear about it. That's even if true. I was involved, I'd be like, what the hell? I was there. Why didn't you just tell me?
That was literally me. What do you mean?
Yeah, I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah, this reminds me of this one time that this girl hurt my feelings and she didn't realize it. And I'm like, that was me. I did that. Why did you not just tell me?
That's real. That's just who I am, baby.
That's just the way it is.
Also, I got my nails done, guys. I just want to let you all know.
Oh, they look really cute.
They're really fucking cute. They're like a pink scream ghost face situation, and they're really cute. And just so you guys all know, we're ready.
We are ready.
We're ready to party. God, I love Halloween.
I love Halloween. I'm so excited.
Ugh.
We're going to the Queen Mary like 3 more times. We're going to the Queen Mary next week.
We're literally going the day after this comes out.
Oh my gosh, we are, yeah. And my dad is in town right now.
And Jay Liston's in town.
AKA the best time of the year.
Wow, there's just so many things happening.
I know. What a joyous occasion.
Why did we ever complain about life sucking when there's so many fun things happening?
I don't know. It's a great question. I'm not going to bring down the mood by making any comment further.
That's probably a good idea. Thank you so much for controlling yourself.
I took a deep breath and I said, you know what? No, it's not the time.
I did see it in your brain like it was cooking.
Yeah.
You're like, I have so many things I could say to that right now.
You're like, oh, there's at least a handful.
I did get a little nervous. I had like a pit in my stomach when I
like,
saw your eyes.
You were like, why did I say that?
I was like, I really could have opened a can of worms there.
Anything could be happening.
Well, I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Should we get started?
Let's get started.
All right. So my story today was a Kool Kid request from so long ago, and I'm so sorry it took this long. It just is kind of depressing.
This is the really sad one.
Yeah. So I didn't want to do it, but I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to be dressed insane for the next couple weeks, and I haven't done true crime in a while. So here we are.
Okay.
I'm going to be covering the Danish submarine case. And thank you to Kat, who requested this, who is one of our Kool Kids.
You said the word submarine, and now I'm very terrified.
Yeah. Oh, I told this story to my boyfriend, and he was like, this is why you're never allowed. I'm never allowed. No one's going on a submarine.
Yeah, please, no.
So I read a Rolling Stone article by Andrea Marks, which was actually about the HBO documentary Undercurrent, The Disappearance of Kim Wall, which I did watch both episodes of. An article in The Guardian by Katerina Clarisi, and of course, Wikipedia.
Of course.
All right, so there are two main characters in this story. The first is a 30-year-old Swedish journalist and all-around badass. Her name is Kim Isabel Fredrika Wall. She got her master's degree and was an incredibly smart and courageous woman and a freelance journalist. She had written for a ton of major news outlets like the New York Times, Vice, China Morning Star, Time Magazine, all the biggins, you know? And her specialty was writing about really intense subjects. She would travel to dangerous areas, and she would do stories on people that she thought were underreported on. So to include a quote from The Guardian, they said, she went to the Marshall Islands and Haiti, North Korea and Uganda to cover what she called, quote, the undercurrents of rebellion, chasing counter narratives and making sure that the voices of those who would normally not be listened to were finally heard.
Okay.
So she literally went to places on Earth where they tell people not to go.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. She lived in Denmark, but was planning on moving to Beijing in August of 2017 with her longtime partner, Oli. But she was trying to finish up a story, which I wasn't sure. I couldn't exactly find if she had either planned on pitching this story to Wired magazine or if she already had and it was accepted. But she was doing a story about our second main character in this story, which is Peter Madsen. So Peter Madsen was an inventor and scientist in his late 40s who was known around Denmark for being this kind of bigger than life personality. He was trying to engineer a private space program out of Denmark, and he also built his first rocket in 1986.
Wow.
Yeah. He eventually joined an engineering club before dropping out of school, and instead of doing a traditional education, he took welding classes and engineering classes to learn the physical ways that he could build rockets and submarines and things of that nature.
Okay.
He began to raise money to fund his exploits and was funded by rich people, friends, organizations, and others that saw him as basically this next great inventor. One of the ways, just reading about him and the way people talked about him, it felt very much the way certain people feel about like Elon Musk.
Okay.
Where
so
they're
not
like,
great.
No. Like Elon Musk fans.
Oh,
like
the
people who
opposite.
are like, he's making this, he's going to change the world, like that type of thing. And you're kind of like, I guess.
I thought you meant like people that like us
No,
think about Elon
and
Musk.
okay, how about this? Before Elon Musk got Twitter, and he seemed like a normal person.
Got it.
In my opinion. Yeah, like when he just like had Tesla and people were like, oh, cool, electronic cars, like sick. Like he's trying, SpaceX, cool. He like wants to build rockets, fun. Like before he started like tweeting transphobic and
like
anti-Semitic and racist shit. So, but yeah, that's like kind of the vibe I got. Like people thought he was this, or maybe a better example, what was her name? Elizabeth, whatever, who did the prick of blood thing.
Oh, the blonde lady.
Yeah. The one who talked like this.
Yeah, fuck. Holmes.
She wore the Elizabeth Holmes.
Elizabeth
yeah,
Holmes.
like kind of like that. Like people just were so enticed by his ideas because he was so charismatic and he was so into what he was doing that they just like wanted to give him money and see what would shake loose. Kind of. That's what it felt like. So on August 10th of 2017, Kim and Ole were planning a farewell party for themselves that night.
Okay.
So they were planning on moving to Beijing in like a couple weeks and wanted to see all of their friends and family before they went off to their next big adventure. Kim had been trying over the last 6 months to secure an interview with Madsen, talking about his work and trying to start this private space program and building multiple private submarines, which were the only privately owned submarines in all of Denmark. And she was basically not getting anything back from him. He'd been super dodgy and uninterested. He had just had a book written about him by a private biographer, and that made him look very good. And so he was kind of like, I don't need the good press, I guess.
Okay.
But before the party starts, Kim gets a text message from Peter Madsen that not only agreed to an interview, but also invited her to go out on one of his submarines with him that very night. So she asked her partner, hey, is it okay if I leave the party and go and get this interview? And of course, him being a supportive, loving boyfriend said, yes, go get your story. And she said she would be back in just a few hours. So at 7 p.m., Kim Wall and Peter Madsen board the UC-3 Nautilus for a quick ride around the bay. As they take off, Kim texts her partner and says, quote, I'm still alive, BTW. I'm going to go down now. I love you. He brought coffee and cookies, though, unquote. And about an hour and a half after they boarded, they were also seen in photographs and videos taken from another boat, because this guy's kind of like a local celebrity and he's going by on his submarine. Like people are like, woohoo, have fun, right? Like taking videos. And it's Kim and Peter on the submarine. They're like in that top funnel part and they're like waving at boats as they go by.
Okay.
Because once again, like it's a fucking submarine.
And this is like a small harbor, you said?
So I'll show you a picture of the sub. It looks exactly like, okay, you know when you go to like a maritime museum or whatever, like, or by the Queen Mary, they have like those subs out of water. You can see them. It looks like that.
Okay.
So if you've ever seen anything like that, I'm sure most people probably have like a wartime or maritime museum. Let me look up.
But it's not the ocean. Like there's other people around. It's like.
Yeah. But it looks like this.
Okay.
And so they were on the top.
Yeah.
Chatting and, you know, talking to each other and waving at other boats. But yeah, there's other people around.
Okay.
These pictures will be on Instagram and also on the YouTube if you're interested. So once again, they're seen only an hour and a half after they first take off. So this is like 8:30. And she had kind of told her partner like, we'll probably be done around like 3 or 4 hours, 10:30. So when 10 p.m. rolls around, Ole becomes a little concerned because Kim had not texted him back. And he'd texted her several times, like checking in, trying to see if they had like an ETA or whatever. But he also knew that she was going to be in like this metal contraption in the ocean. So she might not have the best service.
Yeah.
So he didn't get, overly concerned. Also, this is her job. Like that's what she's doing for work right now. And he didn't become extremely concerned until it was after midnight and he hadn't heard from her.
Because she said it was just going to be a few hours.
Yeah. And I'm assuming she said like around 10:30.
Okay.
But even at midnight, he started reaching out to other friends and family, being like, hey, has anyone heard from her? Like, is there something going on that I don't know about? And when nobody had any answers at around 1:30 in the morning, he actually contacted the authorities and they reported both Kim and Peter missing along with the submarine.
The submarine is missing?
Because it had not been seen since around 10:30 by a passing boat.
Okay.
Because this was such a strange story, it immediately hit the news and became of massive public interest. People were super interested in this. Apparently, a lot of people didn't even know that Denmark had any self-built private submarines. Mm-hmm. So that itself was a story that people were like, what? Like, it's super intriguing. And as we know by like the Ocean Gate Fest, like, bizarre situation, the media feast that happened there, this type of stuff really catches, I
mean, especially it's 2017. So
yeah, it's
social
on Twitter.
Media. Yeah, exactly. Like things are going through everything thing.
Madsen is like a mini celebrity. There's a missing submarine. Like, it sounds like something out of a book. It doesn't sound real.
Yeah.
So this massive news story takes off. People are going crazy. People are trying to speculate who the other person on the sub was with him, if there was anybody else with him. There's just tons going on. People are trying to figure out, okay, if it sank or that had a ballast issue, like how many hours of oxygen do they have? Like, once again, it reminds us of Ocean Gate, where those billionaires, we weren't sure if the thing imploded or if it was stuck at the bottom of the ocean. Like, it felt like that. People were really interested.
I'm sorry I keep harping on the location that they were in, but it felt like it was a small area. Like you said, they were just going to go around.
Yeah, but they don't know how far they went out.
Okay.
They don't know. I mean, there's no satellite. So because this is a privately owned thing, there's no like satellite connection to this where it could ping.
Yeah, because
where like something that was owned by the government or the Navy would ping, and it would give a last known location. This one didn't. It was privately owned. He built it himself.
Okay, because I just keep thinking like, well, if it's in this like little area that there's a bunch of boats,
but how do you know if it left? How do you know? You don't know. You don't know how deep it went. You don't know anything. Yeah.
That's just where my brain was going. So I was like, they gotta find it.
Yeah. So Madsen's team were trying to help the authorities with predictions of what could have happened or where the sub could be. People started speculating, okay, if they're trapped, how long could they live? There was no radio contact at all with Madsen at this point, which is what was troubling people, because he should be able to make radio contact if something went wrong. So they sent out helicopters and boats and different ships out to look around the area. And at 10:30 in the morning on August 11th, which is the next day, the sub was sighted by either, the reports were a little differing. It was either by a lighthouse that saw it and then called the helicopter to come over, or the helicopter itself saw it first. I'm not exactly sure. But either way, they contacted the sub via radio. And Madsen said, everyone on the ship is fine.
Oh, he
answered.
He answered. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then within 30 seconds of his last transmission, the submarine began to sink and Madsen jumped off and had to be rescued by nearby fishing boats.
Okay. Whoa. What the fuck?
So
this is suspicious as fuck.
Yeah. So of course people are, the media's there, everybody's there because they'd all been looking for him. They get the videos of him and they're like, hey, like, what's going on? And he's like, oh, I'm fine, whatever. And the police bring him in right away, obviously. And they interview him and they say, okay, like, where's Kim Wall then? And he goes, oh, Kim? The journalist? I dropped her off the night before around 10:30 p.m., right around where we boarded, like across from this restaurant that's like on the bay.
No way.
So this was released to the public and everyone starts searching for Kim on land. They're like, okay, if she got off the boat, like, we have to look for her and see what happened. Nobody had heard from her. She didn't text anybody. And you would think, you're having a going away party for you and your partner. You're not going to immediately text your partner and be like, hey, I'm off the boat. I'm on my way home.
I mean, she texted him the second she got on.
Yeah.
She would have texted him the second she got off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, there's no fucking way.
Yeah, absolutely. And he had texted her multiple times. So it's not even like, you know, he had been busy and not thinking about her. He clearly was and was checking in.
And the second you get off, what are you going to do? You're going to pull out your phone. You're going to be like, on my way back.
Yep. Oh, notice you have 4 messages from your partner who, for the record, you're about to move to Beijing with. You know what I mean? There's so many. Like, it's so ridiculous to think that she wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But when the police went to the area where he claimed to have dropped her off at, they found that the restaurant actually had extensive CCTV cameras all over. And they went through the hours before and after 10:30. And there was no submarine ever captured. There was nothing that even looked like it could have been a person getting off a boat or a submarine in the area. And they were like, yeah, like, she did not get dropped off here.
Yeah, bro, you did something to her.
Yeah.
Clearly. And on top of that, he wasn't responding to any of the calls going into the submarine. Like, come on. He was obviously doing something.
The Danish naval officers begin to investigate. They also decide to bring the sub up from where it had sank. So he said that it was having ballast issues, which is basically what makes the sub buoyant, or, you know, you mess with that. So he was saying like, oh, there was issues with it, and that's why I wasn't replying to anybody or whatever, and that's why it sank. But it's just really suspicious that it sank like 30 seconds after he got spotted.
Yeah, real weird.
Yeah. So they end up bringing the sub up out of the water. And the first investigator who goes in, she goes in and she immediately is like, oh, it smells like blood in here.
Smells like blood?
Mm-hmm. Like that coppery.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they end up searching it. There's tons of blood, but no body.
They found blood.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh because this is obviously like the serious thing.
No, it's just so ridiculous.
That is insane.
Yeah.
That he so obviously killed her and did something and is trying to be like, oh, I don't know. Like, dude.
Yeah. So the blood is a huge red flag, and Madsen begins to change his story as soon as he is confronted with this evidence. So Peter Madsen tells the police that there had actually, unfortunately, just been a horrible accident on the submarine, and Kim's head had been crushed by the submarine's hatch, and he had given her a burial at sea.
Bro.
So he claims that she was climbing into the submarine. He was holding the submarine hatch. It slipped out of his hand. It weighed like 100 pounds. It landed on her head and crushed her skull. That's where the blood came from. And he panicked and threw her body overboard.
Okay. If that was the case, why the fuck would he not bring the submarine up and call the police?
Yeah.
That makes no fucking sense.
So he was basically saying like he just panicked. He was not thinking straight, and he did this thing because there was so much blood and it was so gross and so weird, right?
I just feel like and I obviously I've never been in this situation, but if that's happened to me or something like that happened to me where like it was a crazy accident, the first thing I would do would call. I wouldn't think like, oh, they're going to suspect me if I was freaking out. I would just call the police.
I would never call the police.
See, I wouldn't. I would immediately call the police and think they're never. Why would they suspect me? Like, I'm calling the police because this is crazy.
You sound exactly like everybody who gets put on trial for murdering
No,
someone.
and I probably would. That would be a problem, obviously. But that would be my initial thing. I'd be like, I have to call the police. This is an accident. I didn't do anything wrong. This is an accident.
No, this guy fucking sucks, for the record. I'm not like defending him or whatever, but there are people who react in ways that are not normal when they experience a trauma like that. Like, it does happen.
Yeah.
And also, for the record, the violent crime rate in Denmark is like almost zero.
Yeah.
They have like one murder a year total.
Jesus. Seriously?
So that's why they're like giving this guy the benefit of the doubt, because first of all, he's kind of like a celebrity and like well known, but also like they are statistically, they might even be the safest country in the world.
Wow.
Their violent crime rate is almost zero. Like, it is insane.
Get me to Denmark.
But so I'm just saying, like, of course they're not gonna think the worst.
No, I understand. I'm just thinking. I'm thinking about what I would do, but I also don't know what I would do because I'm not in that situation.
Yeah, I also don't think you would react the way you think you would. I really don't.
No, it's very possible because when you're in a situation like that, your whole mind is probably altered.
It's so different. Yeah. You like, there's people who just like shut down. Like, it's those people who they're like, what do you mean you just sat in the bedroom all night until somebody else showed up and realized your husband's dead? And it's like, well, some people just literally like their brain just shuts down.
Yeah.
And then there's some people who freak out, and then there's some people, you know, everybody reacts differently. And they were trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, which,
because he's a celebrity.
And it's, once again, the violent crime rate here is like almost zil.
All right.
So when he says that, they're like, okay, we're still going to arrest you for negligent manslaughter and also for tampering with a corpse. And we're also going to keep investigating this further, clearly.
Yes.
And then on August 21st, which was 11 days later, a cyclist was riding along the bay when they spotted something horrific on the beach. A naked torso had washed up, which had no arms, no legs, and no head. And because violent crime and missing people rates are so rare and so low in Denmark, it was presumed that the body was going to be that of Kim Walls, that they did DNA test and confirm that it was hers.
Okay.
Yes. But the problem is they needed the head to disprove his story about this being an accident.
Oh, because if they have the head, they can see how it was taken off.
Yes, or if there was blunt trauma and all that stuff, right? Because at this point, there's a big difference between messing with a corpse, that's a very different charge, than murder.
Okay.
So now they bring in experts on currents and cadaver dogs, and when the people that talk about, you know, the currents and the tides and stuff, they kind of point out an area where they think these things would have ended up if they were thrown off of the sub. And then they have cadaver dogs on the boats that are alerting to the presence of dead bodies. And the searches are done all over that area, and they do find more remains of Kim. On October 6th, almost 2 months after she went missing, 2 bags containing Wall's limbs, a head, and a knife were found in the bay.
Okay. And where is this guy at this point?
He's arrested.
He's arrested. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if he's out on, I don't know how it works there, but he had been arrested and they were going to bring charges of tampering with a body and I think manslaughter against him.
As long as he's not fucking out on the streets.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. He really could have been. I don't know, but I don't think so. When they unwrapped the bag that Wall's head had been in, they found no fracture damage at all. There was no blunt force trauma at all to her head, which immediately disproves Madsen's claims that there had been an accident which resulted in her having her skull crushed.
Okay.
So they were like, okay, we found the head. You lied again.
Right.
So what now?
You're a murderer.
Yeah. Other evidence had also been piling up against Peter Madsen, despite the fact that all of his friends, peers, and employees, and even ex-girlfriends that had been interviewed had said that he didn't have like a violent bone in his body. They could not fathom him committing this horrible crime. There was other evidence that had come to light to the police that said otherwise.
That is something that is so crazy to me, how so many people in someone's life, like someone could have dated someone for years and been like, he was never abusive to me or yelled at me or anything. And then they literally murder someone.
Yeah.
In a violent way.
Well, I mean, the thing is, the way that predators get away with what they do is by being the most charming, most interesting, most chill guy.
I know.
Because if they seemed like a predator, they would never find prey.
And it's like, I know because I watch so much true crime that I know that this stuff happens. It just still blows my mind every time.
It's hard because we want to be like, well, if somebody accused you of doing this, I would never believe it. But then it's also like, that's how everybody feels about everything.
No, I mean, I know. That's true.
Yeah. The other evidence that they found was mostly on Madsen's computer. They found videos of women being murdered and decapitation videos, as well as sexual snuff films on his computer.
What's that?
A snuff film is a video usually about that ends. It is a torture and murder, but it's real life murder.
Okay.
It's called a snuff film because they snuff out their life at the end.
Oh.
And it's usually a sexual thing for men, typically.
Okay.
Also, after an examination of Wall's torso, they found over a dozen stab wounds to her genitals. It looked like somebody had been violating her with a knife. There were also traces of semen found on Madsen's clothing that were seized the day he was found abandoning the submarine. So at this point, Madsen changes his story again and claims that, yes, he did dismember her, but only because she accidentally died from gas poisoning, and he panicked and dismembered her to, quote, make a large problem into several small ones.
Dude, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, what? You're just making up the craziest shit at this point.
Yeah. The autopsy found no traces of toxic gas in Wall's lungs.
What? That is insane. What an insane thing to say.
Yeah.
I dismembered her because there was toxic gas. No, I can't.
Yeah. Well, he said he dismembered her because she was too heavy. He couldn't carry her out and throw her body overboard. So he had to dismember her so that he could carry her and throw her overboard. Mm-hmm. They also found other women that Madsen had invited on the sub before he had invited Kim Wall. And most of them, or all of them, got the ick and didn't go because they would say, oh, can I bring my husband? Oh, can I bring my kids?
Of course.
And he would get all weird and be like, no, you have to come alone. It has to be alone. And then these women were like, ew, what the fuck? And then I think in my opinion, it seemed like he just got so desperate and he knew that Kim Wall would go on it because she wanted that interview so bad.
She wanted a story.
And it was her job. So why would she try to bring her boyfriend, or why would she try to, bring somebody else?
God, fuck, dude.
On January 16th, 2018, Madsen was officially charged with murder, indecent handling of a corpse, and sexual assault. They could not confirm a cause of death because she didn't have any blunt force trauma. There was no gunshot wounds. But based on text messages that Madsen had sent to other women, in which while they were sexting, he would describe to them that while they were coming, he wanted to slit their throat and decapitate them. They assumed that was the cause of death for her.
Of course, she had to die in the most fucking painful, tragic way.
Yeah, and while trapped in a tomb, essentially, below the water with a psychopath.
Now I understand why you didn't want to cover this story.
Yes. So he had invited, like I said, multiple other women. He also, it turns out, was attending S&M parties and was on weird websites and weird sexting, dating apps. For the record, he was married.
Oh my! Are you fucking kidding me?
His wife obviously left him as soon as all of this came to light.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Don't worry. Somebody married him once he went to jail. Somebody else married him.
Oh my God.
Madsen's trial began on March 8th in the Copenhagen courthouse, and by April 25th, he was convicted of all 3 charges, and he was sentenced to life in prison, which is an extremely rare sentence in Denmark. Usually, unless you're like a serial killer or something like that, you're usually given for like your first murder offense like 12 to 15 years, because a lot of the times it's crimes that are like they're all about like rehabilitation and stuff like that. But like this guy's like is actually like a sick fucking freak.
Yeah.
This was not just like a crime of passion or a crime of poverty or anything like that. Like he like actually just found sexual pleasure in killing women. So they did give him a life sentence. Unfortunately, there have been legal analysts that have said that they thought he'll probably only serve like 16 years because that is the average for a life sentence in Denmark. After 9 years, you can start appealing the sentence. They also tried to connect him with the murder of a 22-year-old woman in Scandinavia in 1986 in Copenhagen. Or sorry, it was a Scandinavian woman. Her name was Kazuko Toyonaga in 1986. They thought it could have been possibly connected to Madsen, but they were not able to prove it. And yeah. Right after he went to prison, he did get stabbed by a fellow inmate who was an 18-year-old man who thought that this was just someone who should not be on the planet anymore.
I agree with that person.
He did admit to killing Kim Wall. He did eventually admit to killing her. But
I
once again,
you did it. Like, how you can't get away from that.
Had all sorts of excuses for why he did it. And then in October of 2020, he did briefly escape prison by threatening a prison employee. He lied and said he had a gun, and then he claimed to have a bomb strapped to his chest. It was not a bomb. There was about 500 police officers that were deployed, and he was taken back into custody.
That alone should have him be able to be in prison forever.
Yeah, for longer.
Like no appeal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kim Wall's family has set up tons of stuff in her memory. They want to keep her memory alive, and they want to make sure that she is known as someone who was courageous and deserved better, obviously. But one of the things that her family like said time and time again in every statement I read from them was like, she went to all these dangerous places just to be killed by a man 30 miles from her house.
Literally. By someone that was like a local celebrity that everyone knew. Like, how do you think that you could just murder women like that and get away with it when everyone knows who you are? I don't understand.
Yeah. So I did want to end this story with a quote from Kim. It's a text message she sent to one of her friends not long before she was murdered. And she said, quote, "I only have questions about agency as a woman and if we will ever be free no matter what we do. Leaning towards no." And I think that
wow.
We talk a lot on this podcast about like how scary it is to be a woman and how like all men are the issue, and people like to say, oh, not all men, oh, you're a man hater, oh, you're this, oh, you're that. Who are you scared of, men? Men who are scared. What are you scared of? Because I guarantee you it's other men. And it just feels like we don't ever have a chance, because if somebody decides that they just want us dead, that is what will happen. This is a woman who survived war zones. She went into all sorts of dangerous situations. She was fearless. She was scuba diving with sharks and doing all this crazy stuff. And all it took was one fucking narcissistic piece of shit man who wanted to feel sexual pleasure for 5 fucking minutes to snuff out every piece of future work and every piece of art that she would have created, every good thing that she would have done. Like,
in what world would she have thought by getting on that submarine with a celebrity that she's going to write an article about that would have happened?
Well,
never.
And here's the thing. There's so many people, if you go online, that like blame her. Like, well, why would she ever do that? Why would she ever go on that boat, whatever? And then guess what they ended the fucking documentary with? They asked all the female journalists that they had been interviewing, would you have gotten on that submarine? And they said, of course, it's my job.
Yeah.
It's my fucking job. And I should feel safe to be alone with a man for my job. But instead, I have to worry about being sexually violated, murdered, decapitated, thrown away like garbage. Like, I'm sorry. If you're mad that women are afraid of men, go talk to men about it. Men are the reason we're afraid of you guys.
And everyone knew who he was.
Mm-hmm. There's literally videos of them like waving. I'm not kidding. Like literally waving, because like other people on boats are like, oh my God, look, it's the submarine.
Yeah.
And like videoing it and like them like waving. She's just chatting with him.
Why would she ever think that was going to happen?
He brought coffee and fucking cookies to her execution. Like, that is so insane.
Oh my God.
And the craziest part is they're interviewing, like, you should watch this documentary. It really is good.
I don't know if I can. I'm like so upset.
They cover like tons of stuff that like I just couldn't fit in, right? And but like, it's crazy when they're interviewing the men and all of the men are like, I don't understand how he could ever do this. Like, I just can't even picture him doing it. I've been so lied to. I've been so tricked. And it's like, I don't know.
I mean, he obviously did, like, he lied. His wife was tricked too.
I don't know. There is not very much about her. There's a lot of safety and security laws in Denmark, which are very good, where you can't like name people or have stuff, and like trials aren't public and stuff like that in the way that they are here. So there's not a ton of information on the wife or the other. There were other, like I said, the other women who came forward and said like, yeah, he did this, or he sent me these text messages, or he invited me on the sub, like whatever.
I mean, like you said earlier, the people like serial killers and people that do these things are always really charming and no one would ever suspect them. And it's great. Like, they portray a certain persona to people to make sure that you would never think they would do this.
Yeah.
So
predators wear camouflage. Otherwise they wouldn't be very good predators.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. But there you go, Kat. You wanted me to cover it. I did.
Like, holy fuck.
There's a reason I didn't want to. It's just because it is very, very, very heavy. But I also, like, you know what?
It's important.
Right now, when we have fucking Olympians who are being set on fire by their boyfriends, and we have women who are being raped to death by 40 men, and then you find her name in the search engine for porn websites. Like, yes, we are afraid of you, and I will never be sorry about talking shit about men and how scary you guys are, because it's scary.
And that's a fair statement.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you, because the men that aren't scary know that I'm not talking about them, but I do hope that they feel compelled to stand up to the scary ones every once in a while.
Yeah.
That's what I really hope. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more, actually.
Yeah. So that is the disappearance and the murder of Kim Wall, which is referred to in Denmark as the submarine case.
Rest in peace, Kim Wall. I'm so sorry.
Dude, she was 30. She was younger than us.
Oh my God.
30 years old.
Every time you even say anything, I get more upset.
Yeah, because it's super upsetting. I remember when they went missing. I remember before they found the submarine. I remember like watching this case unravel, because like I said, it was only in 2017. Like, yeah.
Well, I'm so sorry you had to die in such a fucking horrific, traumatic, disgusting way by a disgusting human being.
All I can think is, I know just based on her reporting and reading reporting of hers, and like her trying to focus on stories from people that should be told from this perspective of one way and not the other. I would hope that she would be happy that people want to keep being reminded of what happened to her as a cautionary tale. So maybe we can figure it out and not have it happen to someone else. And her family really is like trying to make this into the best case scenario that they can, starting the Kim Wall Foundation and all sorts of stuff. I'll link all of that down on our Twitter. So make sure you guys check that out. Yeah.
Well, thank you for telling us that. It was very upsetting, but I think, as you said, it is an important message to get across.
Yeah.
So hopefully this kind of stuff doesn't keep happening.
Women should feel safe at their own fucking jobs, at least.
Yes, at least, at the very least.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
Well,
that was very depressing and very upsetting. I don't have anything that's like light and fuzzy and fun, unfortunately. But let's keep trekking along.
Got the downer sewed.
Yeah. Luckily mine's not quite as intense as yours, but it's not great. So I'm going to talk today about the Gustaf Adolf Lutheran Church poisonings.
Okay. I actually weirdly do know this one.
Do you?
I do.
It's so niche.
Yeah.
God, see, this is what happens when you have a chronically online friend.
I read a lot.
So my sources for this were maine.gov, an article on WGME.com, an LA Times article by Stephen Braun, a Washington Post article by David Montgomery, MaineCrimeWriters.com, and Wikipedia. So the Gustaf Adolf Lutheran Church is located in the small town of New Sweden, Maine. This town was established in 1870, and it was a Swedish immigrant colony when it was established. So like some guy came over from Sweden, he brought 51 immigrants with him, and they created this whole little town.
And they colonized. As colonizers do.
That's right. A lot of people, obviously, when the town first started, came from Sweden, so they only spoke Swedish. And still to this day, because it's just been like the ancestors passed down from generation to generation, you will still hear a lot of the older generations in town speaking Swedish.
Oh, cool. Swedish is a really cool language.
It is cool. And because of that, to this day, they have a lot of like Swedish traditions that they still celebrate in the town. So St. Lucia Day, which is the feast of St. Lucy, which is a Christian or Catholic holiday, I believe, is celebrated on December 13th. And then they also celebrate Midsummer, which is the celebration of the beginning of summer. So they celebrate that every year as well. I've still never have seen that movie. In the year 2000, the population of New Sweden was 621. In 2010, it was 602. And then in 2020, the population was even less with 577 people.
Okay.
So it's very small, but it's obviously been within like 50 or so people in the last 20, 25 years.
Yeah.
But very small, very traditional. Everybody knows everybody. It's the vibes. You know what I'm talking about. But not many people had actually heard of this area until something happened in 2003 that took this tiny little town to the top of the news. On Sunday, April 27th, 2003, it was a typical Sunday for the people in town. They got up, they put on their best Sunday clothes, and they headed out to the Gustaf Adolf Lutheran Church.
As one does.
As one does. Also, what a name. Gustaf Adolf.
Yeah, that's why I remember it.
Yeah, it's unforgettable. This was a very tight-knit congregation of about 50 people. And during the service, some of the churchgoers, I don't really know what you call them, parishioners.
Yeah.
They got up and they thanked everyone for coming out to the church bake sale that happened the day before, because those people were contributing to help raise money for a new furnace because the old one in the church had stopped working and needed to be replaced. They did a bake sale. Typical small town behavior.
As you do.
Adorable. I love it. The service ends and everybody gets up and they go to the fellowship hall for some morning refreshments. So this is not something that happened in my church, because when I was growing up, I was in a very, very large Catholic church. I didn't really know anybody in the church. It wasn't like that kind of community. But for anyone that was in a very small, tight-knit church community, you probably have done something like this before. These people that were going to the fellowship hall, they were all waiting for a church council meeting that was going to take place kind of about the furnace. Like they were like, oh, we're going to figure out when we're going to get the furnace and all this stuff. And they're sitting there and they're all just like mingling and chit-chatting over some coffee, which apparently Swedish people love coffee. A Swedish farmer actually told the Washington Post, and I quote, "There's no such thing as strong coffee, only weak people."
I like that.
Which, true, I stand by that.
I feel like I've seen that on like a magnet at someone's house
absolutely.
before.
The president of the church at the time, Herman Fisher, he brewed 2 pots of coffee, and Janet Erickson brought out some leftover treats from the previous day's bake sale for people to just like kind of snack on as well while they were waiting for the council meeting to start. As they're all talking and snacking, one woman, June Greenier, mentions how kind of like strange and weird the coffee tasted that morning. So she's like drinking it and she's like, this is really bitter today. And her friend Shirley Erickson was next to her. So she hands the cup to her and she's like, can you taste this? This tastes really funky.
Yeah, like it's burnt or something.
And Shirley was not a coffee drinker, like at all. But her friend was like, just taste this. Like, does this taste really weird to you? And she takes a sip and she's like, oh yeah, gross. Like that's really bitter. Ew.
Yeah.
Eric Marginson, however, he was also drinking the coffee. He overheard the ladies and he's like, it really doesn't taste that bad. Like, coffee tastes different everywhere you go. It was probably just maybe a bitter brew.
Yeah, what, you've never been to Dunkin' Donuts on a bad day?
Oh, don't talk to me about Dunkin' Donuts on a bad day. You know how I feel about that. I mean, nothing is worse than bad Starbucks, though. Bad Starbucks is disgusting.
Well, they burn their beans on purpose.
That's why I stopped going.
Yeah.
Well, that and other things. But
yeah.
I only go to Dunkin' now, guys, because when it's good, it is so good.
Yeah.
But when it's bad,
you're playing Russian roulette over
you really
there,
are.
Yeah.
You really are. It's been really good the last couple times I went, though.
Hey, that's
I gotta
good.
say. So Eric, he was like, yeah, it's really not that bad. And he continued to take big gulps from his cup. But after he finished his cup, he started to feel a strange tingling sensation in his mouth. So he's like, that's really weird. And his first initial thought is maybe whoever cleaned the coffee pots, like from the recent time they had it, left too much dish soap in the coffee pot. Like, I don't know if you've ever had that taste where you can taste the dish soap.
Yeah, I've done that on accident before in my air fryer.
Yeah. And it's gross.
Where
and
I'm
you
like,
can taste
air
it.
fry something, and then I'm like, oh, you can literally taste the soap because I just didn't rinse it as well as I should have. Yeah.
So that's his initial thought. He's like, maybe it was just dish soap. And that's like that bitter taste that those ladies are getting from it. And now
Yeah.
he's getting kind of like the aftertaste of that. So then Lois Anderson puts down her cup. She runs to the bathroom and she starts vomiting everywhere.
Oh, God.
Eric Marginson, the guy who was talking about the dish soap,
Yeah.
he drove to his father's house, ran inside, and began projectile vomiting everywhere as well. Another guy, Dale Anderson, he started to feel nauseous during the little mingling situation. And he looked at his wife and he was like, hey, I think you need to take me home. Like, I'm not feeling good. And he later told a reporter, we got home here and I just started puking my guts out.
Ugh, God.
78-year-old Walter Reed Morrill, he ended up in the emergency room of the Carey Medical Center in Caribou. And this place was 10 miles south of New Sweden. I think it was like the closest ER they had.
Probably,
because
yeah.
it's a very small town. And not too long after he was admitted, more and more of the congregation began showing up to the ER.
God.
Everyone was sick. Everyone was throwing up. And one of the nurses even said that the entire ER was basically this congregation of the church.
Ugh.
Horrible.
I hate having the stomach flu so bad. It feels so bad. And there's no relief. There's literally nothing you can do to help it.
There's no relief. And what the doctors and the nurses pretty much were thinking at this point was something else you had recently. Food poisoning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because I mean, I would assume it's like regular poisoning and food poisoning. It's both called poisoning for a reason.
Yeah, that's true. So the doctors and nurses are getting all these people admitted and they're frantically trying to figure out what is going on. They had heard from other people that were like, because other people from the congregation that weren't sick were dropping off the other people there.
Got it.
So
okay.
they're kind of talking to the nurses and the doctors. And they're like, well, we had this bake sale yesterday and maybe someone ate something that was weird. So they're like, yeah, logistically speaking, the only thing that would make sense is food poisoning.
Yeah, because everybody went to the bake sale and now everyone's at the same congregation thing. Yeah.
So they immediately start trying to treat everyone for food poisoning, which is like a special antibiotic that they were like administering to people.
Okay.
And when that wasn't working on anyone, they were like, okay, obviously this is something way more serious than food poisoning. And we need to figure out what's causing this puking, vomiting sickness ASAP. So they decided to not only test the people's stool, aka their poop, to see if there was something like weird that they had eaten and any bacteria that they could find in there. But they also had someone go to the church, get all the baked goods that were consumed and test them to see if there was anything out of the ordinary or if they had been tainted at all.
Okay. So
by the next morning, which was Monday, Walter Reed Morrill, the 78-year-old, had died from his symptoms.
No.
I know. And dying from food poisoning is not a very common thing. It does happen, but it is not common.
I don't know if this is considered food. I mean, the food was poisoned, but I think it was like 11 people died from the boar's head meat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is true,
like
yeah.
It does happen.
Well, I looked it up. It does happen. Like I said, it is just not very common.
Yeah, it's usually older people or like little kids.
Yeah. So after Walter's death, the 7 other people that were in critical condition that were admitted there were immediately rushed to the Eastern Maine Medical Center because they're like, okay,
this is something serious.
We're clearly not dealing with what we thought we were dealing with, and we got to make sure all these other people don't die as well.
Yeah.
So a nurse that was at the medical center, she was actually working overnight at the poison center in this hospital. Her name was Rose Tangway. And she was the very first person to bring up the idea of this possibly being arsenic poisoning.
Oh, okay.
She was like, someone died.
Yeah, it seems more serious than just food poisoning.
Yeah, it could possibly be this, just based on the facts that I'm finding out. Like, Walter died 24 hours after the incident. A lot of the other patients' blood pressure was dangerously low.
Okay.
And on top of that, the baked goods were tested and they didn't seem to be tainted at all.
Okay.
So they're like, what is going on? Clearly nothing they ate gave them food poisoning. Like, this is really bizarre.
And it seems extremely targeted.
Yes. A Dr. Dora Ann Mills, who was the director of the Maine CDC, she said that after 9/11, every hospital in Maine was supposed to have antidotes for arsenic poisoning on hand. So they were like all given that. And literally the antidotes for this area had just arrived there days before this.
What are the chances?
I know.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is actually really crazy.
Like literally, she was like, this is so weird.
Listen, I don't believe in God really, but
that's crazy.
That sounds like God's work if it helps.
So at first, doctors are like, hey, we can't give this antidote to these people yet because what if it's not arsenic poisoning? What if they don't have that? And if they don't have that, this antidote is going to cause a lot of serious harm to these people.
Yeah.
And Dr. Dora Mills, she said, if you don't do it now, these people could die either way. You have to give these people the antidote. Like she literally forced the doctors to do it. And by Monday evening, the testing that was done on the stool came back. And Rose Tanguay and Dora Mills were absolutely correct. And they were all suffering from arsenic poisoning.
Damn.
Isn't that wild?
What an 1800s ass diagnosis,
like,
too.
What the fuck? And this is 2003.
Yeah. That's wild.
And basically, if it wasn't for Dora and Rose, really, but Dora is the one that told the doctors, like, you have to give these people the antidote right now.
Yeah.
And all the doctors basically said if she hadn't done that, these people could have died.
Yeah.
So she saved all their lives.
You know what? Being confident saves lives, people.
I mean, she was like, you have to do this. They could die either way, so you might as well try.
Might as well try, yeah. This is the one. It's either they just continue getting worse or we try this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they were able to conclude that everyone had gotten sick on that Sunday morning, or everyone who had gotten sick on that Sunday morning had consumed the coffee. So they tested the coffee, and sure enough, there were traces of heavy metal not only in the grounds of the coffee, but in the water that was used to brew it.
Damn. Double homicide.
Right? And only like 16 people in the congregation had actually drank, like out of the 50 people that were there, had drank the coffee, and those were the people that got sick.
Got it. Okay.
So that's how
they really narrowed
it down pretty well. Yeah. Shirley Erickson, who was 63, she was the one lady who does not drink coffee that had a teeny tiny little sip of her friend's.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Just to check. She was hospitalized for 8 days.
Holy
And she had
moly.
a teeny tiny sip. So imagine how sick the people that chugged the whole cup were.
Oh my God.
Like it was bad.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But luckily everyone else survived.
Yeah.
Except another lady did unfortunately die later on due to complications from the arsenic poisoning. Okay. But everyone else did survive.
God that doctor was willing to be like, nope, you're giving them the arsenic.
I know.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's just crazy how like everything like lined up and how they got the antidote days before.
3 days before.
It just blows my mind.
Really wild.
I know. Yeah. And now the question is, who in this small congregation where people literally considered each other family poisoned everybody?
Yeah. Like who would have access?
So for days, everyone's like racking their brain. They're like, no, who would ever do this? Like, no, everyone's family, everyone loves each other. This doesn't make any sense. But obviously this was a targeted attack.
Yeah.
It couldn't have just been like something.
Like all we're trying to do is raise money for a new fucking radiator.
Yeah, literally. Well, luckily for the police, at least, 5 days after the poisoning incident, they were able to find the culprit.
Quick.
On May 2nd, police arrived at the home of 53-year-old Danny Bondinson. And this was after receiving a call from a neighbor who heard a gunshot go off. So police enter the home and find Danny's body. He is dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Police said that he left behind a handwritten note. And for a very long time in this investigation, like when, because I was reading a lot of news articles that were coming out
when it
was happening, they were like, police are not telling us what the note said. Like they're holding that information very classified. But eventually that information did come out. And the handwritten note said, I acted alone. I acted alone. One dumb, poor judgment ruins life, but I did wrong. I thought it was something. I had no intent to hurt this way, just to upset stomach like the churchgoers did me.
Okay.
So
nothing makes me think you didn't act alone, like someone saying I acted alone, I
twice,
acted alone.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Danny Bondison, he was in the congregation pretty much his entire life, as well as his entire family. He was, however, the only person not at church the day of April 27th.
Okay.
But his family was there.
Okay.
So in his note, he's obviously confessing to doing this crime, and he's clearly saying that this was an accident. He didn't mean to hurt anyone. He just wanted to cause like an upset stomach to people.
Was he all the way there?
I wasn't sure just based on how the wording was of the letter, but nothing said that he wasn't. Everything said that he was like a really great guy. He showed up to work on time. He had a really good job. Everyone loved him. He volunteered at the nursing home like once a week. Like I didn't see anything about that.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, just because the wording of
the wording confused me as well. Yeah. So he was clearly just saying like, I just wanted to cause a stomach ache to people. It was pretty obvious to police, like he didn't know how dangerous this arsenic could actually be. And he was so racked with guilt because Walter died, like someone actually died from this.
How did he even get access to arsenic?
So his family owned a farm.
Okay.
And apparently farmers use arsenic for like their potatoes. This is what I read on the internet.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not a farmer.
Did his family use arsenic for their potatoes?
I don't know.
Yeah, because like that's like an interesting theory, but I feel like you'd be able to prove that they bought that.
What I read on the internet was that farmers often used arsenic to grow potatoes, is what I read, and that his family owned a farm. That's all I know.
Okay, because I feel like if that was proven, that would be in articles, not as a theory.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I feel like people would be like, yeah, his family bought this. It's proven.
Oh yeah, no, there's nothing proven.
Yeah,
that was all that was said in articles.
Okay,
like, well, his family owned a farm and farmers.
I find this all very fishy.
No, it's weird. It's definitely weird. So
and he lived with his family.
He lived alone, but he was found dead in his family's farmhouse.
Okay. I don't trust it.
I know. It's weird. I think
something else is going on here.
It's really weird. So the police looked further into Danny because obviously they're reading this note and they're like, what does he mean by the things that he's saying?
Yeah, like they upset my tummy or whatever.
Exactly. So they were like, when he said, I just wanted to upset stomach like the churchgoers did to me, did he mean that figuratively? Did he mean that literally? Like what happened here? And when they looked further into him, they did discover a couple of things. So apparently Danny did get food poisoning from like a baked good at another church event like months before.
Okay.
So police were like, could he be retaliating against that person for accidentally giving him food poisoning? Which also seems a little weird. But then they also found out that his family had donated a communion table to the church like months and months and months prior. And this is something that they would do when a member of the congregation died. They would donate something that was theirs, that was like special to them, to the church to use.
Okay.
So someone in his family died. They had this like really special, beautiful oak communion table. They're like, we're going to donate this from this person to the congregation so you guys can use it in memory, like in honor of them.
Yeah, of course.
And apparently this table had been sitting in a storage room in the church, unused for months. And the Bondison family confronted the congregation multiple times to ask like why they hadn't used the table yet. And they were like, oh, well, we just hadn't really had any use for it yet.
Yeah.
So it's just sitting there unused. And this apparently really upset the Bondison family as well as Danny.
Okay.
So that's the only like kind of motivation that the police could get for this.
Yeah, you know how I feel about trusting the police. So.
No, I know. But it is the only thing that would even remotely make sense, I think. Because what else would?
But I just mean even that's alleged. Like, who knows if they actually cared that much?
No, absolutely. You're right. And also a lot of his family members were there that day.
And could have drank the coffee.
They could have drank the coffee.
But they didn't.
Allegedly, one of his family members named Nora did get sick. But this is where it gets tricky because people were saying they didn't see her drink the coffee, so they don't know if she poisoned herself to make it look like... Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I don't know. It gets tricky.
But also, how much do you really pay attention to whether or not someone took a cup of coffee or not?
No, absolutely. So another thing, kind of like what you mentioned earlier, is the police noticed that in the very first line of the note where he wrote, I acted alone, the first line was underlined. So it's like, why would you underline, I acted alone?
Just to write it again.
It feels like you didn't act alone.
Well, and just to write it again.
Exactly. And this made the police suspicious, thinking, you probably had an accomplice. Like, you probably didn't act alone.
Yeah.
However, it gets even more tricky because the entire congregation was very much behind Danny. They did not believe that he would do this to them, especially of his own free will.
Got it. Okay.
So they were all convinced that he had to have been forced to do this by someone else. Or someone like told him that if you put just this much arsenic in the coffee, it'll just give people a stomach ache and they'll feel sick. And he had no idea that the amount that he put in was actually going to be really like fatal to people.
Yeah.
Or other people thought maybe he had information on somebody else and they were like, you have to do this. It's a whole conspiracy kind of about this. But the police ultimately closed the case because Danny did confess in his letter. But even today, the people of New Sweden, Maine do not believe he was the only one involved in this. And they think there's more to the story.
I agree.
Just like you do.
Yeah.
Especially, like I said earlier, because Danny was such a beloved member of the congregation and the community. Like, people literally were like, he was the nicest person. There was nothing that would ever suggest that he would have done this to us.
Yeah.
And the community rallied so much behind Danny that the same amount of people that showed up to Walter, the 78-year-old's funeral, showed up to Danny's funeral.
Oh.
Yeah, because they really were like, I just don't think he did this.
Yeah.
Dale Anderson, he was one of the guys that got really sick. He told WGME in 2018, there's more to it than Danny. He maybe knew something about it, but I think there's more people out there. And this guy was so affected by the arsenic that today he's still suffering from long-term effects from the poisoning, and part of his hands are like permanently numb.
Yeah.
And he still thinks like, I don't think it was just Danny.
Yeah.
So even though this case is closed and we do technically have a confession from Danny, the people from New Sweden think this case is unsolved. And unfortunately, it's such a small town. I don't think the police are ever going to like reopen it to investigate further.
No, I agree. In my opinion, it seems like there's something else going on.
It seems fishy, right?
I don't believe that note for a second.
That's what I'm saying. And like to so easily be like, yeah, it was a self-inflicted gunshot. How do you know?
The police rule things suicides all the time that are so clearly not. So
yeah.
Once again, I don't trust police reports very much, especially in anything that's a little bit sticky.
I mean, I just think there's a couple options here. I think someone could have framed him and killed him, right?
Yeah.
And they were hoping to kill more people in the congregation.
Yeah.
Or he was coerced to do this and he had no idea that it was actually going to be like that dangerous. Like maybe they were like, if you just put a drop in, it's not going to actually hurt anyone.
Yeah, it'll just make them have an upset tummy.
But really,
it was killing people.
It was killing people.
And it would have killed more people if that doctor hadn't stepped in.
And then he felt so guilty about what he did that he completed suicide. Those are the options that I see for this, and personally.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's very strange.
But while I was researching this, it kind of course, because I'm crazy, it made me spiral into like accidental poisonings and like accidentally poisoning yourself. And I was just quickly Googling it. And did you know that accidental poisoning is a very common way that people die, like accidentally poisoning themselves?
Yeah, it's why they always tell you, like, you have to be careful about taking unregulated supplements, because people will like mix things that become, or especially if you're fucking cleaning your bathroom, make sure you don't make mustard gas, brother.
What's that?
If you add like bleach and chlorine or any, like, there's certain, use one cleaning product at a time. Don't mix shit. Like, don't mix anything with bleach, first of all. And don't, like, if you're using like a cleaner, like a toilet cleaner, don't add any sort of powders to it. Just use your toilet cleaner. Do the powders later. You will gas yourself.
Oh my God. Well, specifically you, Cassidy Liston.
What?
What I was reading was a lot of people who have bad eyesight that don't wear their glasses will accidentally take the wrong like medicine from their cabinet and poison themselves. Die from that. Like this one lady, she went to her bathroom looking for eye drops and she accidentally squirted highly toxic nail glue into her eye and glued her eyelid shut, and like thank God it didn't get into her actual eye so she didn't go blind.
I've seen that before. That was like that girl who put Gorilla Glue on her hair.
Yeah.
Because she thought it was the Got to Be You because they look the same.
So that's a message for Cassidy and everyone that's blind like Cassidy.
I wear my glasses.
Make sure you're reading the labels.
You're the one who refuses to go to the optometrist.
I can read the labels.
Okay, I can also read the labels.
I'm just saying now I'm spiraling about accidentally poisoning myself.
Yeah, don't mix cleaning products is the biggest thing I can tell you. Do not mix cleaning products. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
You're going to accidentally make mustard gas eventually and you're going to kill yourself.
Yeah, don't do that.
Or you're going to give yourself lung cancer. Don't do it. It's not worth it.
Yeah, but that is the very controversial kind of conspiratorial case of the New Sweden, Maine poisonings.
Yeah, I think there's something else going on there, in my opinion.
Yeah, I do too.
But I don't think we'll ever know about it.
No, and it's like...
It's small town shit, man.
It's small town shit, and you know what it kind of course, it was making me think of?
What?
Desperate Housewives.
Yeah, it does give
like
Desperate
small
Housewives.
Town people hating each other. I don't know.
Yeah, parish, maybe a...
something going on there.
Yeah, like a suspicious note. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, rest easy, brother.
Yeah, for real.
How about we round this out with a listener story?
Let's do it.
All right, so this is from Heather.
A happy one?
I don't know. I don't
We'll
read
see.
them.
I don't
read them before, so.
That was me putting that out there into the atmosphere.
Well, now if it's not a happy one, you're going to look like a real dick.
I always look like a dick.
All right, so Heather says, "Hey, ladies. Love the pod. Thank you guys for always keeping me company, either during work or running errands. I've been meaning to write/share this story, but it still freaks me out to this day. So I never really talk about it, but here we go. Oh, I got to get my real good voice on. To give a little background on my mom's house before I get started. In this house, I never felt alone, and not because I'm a baby of 6, I know, but because I always felt like no matter who was home or wasn't home, I felt someone was always watching me. I never felt comfortable being alone home, and I never felt like sleeping in the dark. A lot of weird stuff has happened in the house, from CDs flying across the room while my sister was playing with the board, to things going missing after putting them down when no one was home, and to walking past the hallway feeling like something was lurking just at the end of a dark, dark hallway. So the night in question, at this time, I think I was 18, so about 12 years ago, but I remember it like it was yesterday. My girlfriend at the time was part-time living with us. We had gone to bed like any normal night, with her on my right side, the wall on my left side, and my 1-year-old dog asleep in her favorite spot, right in between my legs.
Of course.
Usually I always sleep with the TV on because I get really freaked out to sleep in the dark. You know, because of the always feeling like someone was watching me vibe. But this night the TV was being weird, so we didn't have it on, and we just went to bed. Nothing out of the ordinary. However, I woke up in the middle of the night and felt like someone was standing over the bed. Since it was dark, I couldn't see, but oh boy, did I feel it. Just the sheer fear that ran through my body laying there haunts me to this day. I went to try to nudge my girlfriend, but realized that I could not move. So I tried to call out her name. Let's say her name is Lisa. But of course, I couldn't talk. I tried a few more times, but alas, with no avail, I decided I would just try to go back to bed because what else could I do? But the shadow I swore was standing over my bed had other plans. Every time I felt myself almost asleep, I would get what I can only describe as what felt like shocks going through my body. This happened, I want to say four or five times. At first, I thought it was just dreams and thought, oh, well, maybe this is the feeling like you're falling asleep and you have a shock that goes through your body and makes you wake up. But my dog between my legs would whine right on cue. Nothing else happened after that last one, and I was able to go back to sleep. Don't ask me how I could do it, but I do remember falling asleep again. Like I said, I was able to fall asleep after a few times, and then when I woke up, I told my girlfriend what happened, and of course, she didn't believe me. I don't really understand why that happened, and it never happened again, thank God, but till this day, it still freaks me out. What was that shadow I couldn't see but could feel was there, and why wouldn't he let me go to sleep? Anyway, love the pod. Keep up the spooky work. Heather.
The dog whining right at the same time that you're feeling.
Maybe the spooky thing was keeping you awake because it was actually keeping you safe.
From what?
I don't know. Maybe you were going to like fall asleep and die in your sleep.
Oh my God.
And then you didn't because this thing was like, I'm going to keep her awake. I'm going to give her the shocks, the little shickety shocks.
Well, that's a new twist to sleep paralysis.
I'm just saying, when she said, why did it want to keep me awake? My first thought was maybe it was there to help you or protect you. Maybe you were awake and you had your eyes open and somebody was peering through your window and they said, ooh, I'm not going to break in here tonight because that bitch is awake.
Shit.
I don't know. Just saying.
Wow, you're throwing out some new information here.
Just saying. I don't know. Anything could be happening.
Damn. That's a good theory, Cass.
Thank you. Thank you for sending that in, Heather. Very spooky story. If you would like to send in a story, you out there, the royal you. You can do that at dtkpod.com/contact. If you'd like to join our Patreon or send us a nice message, you can do that at dtkpod.com/support. And we just want to say thank you for listening because that's the best thing.
That is the best thing. And only send nice messages. Thank you so much.
Or Amanda will cry.
I will.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. And we hope you have such a wonderful week. But most importantly, make sure you keep that front door locked.
Make sure you keep that mind open.
And keep drinking the Kool-Aid.